Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an individual who has turned his passion into a profession, Sajid Chougle. Sajid, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh.
Sajid is the creative head of Luma World, which we will talk about is a big gaming organization. And in his own words, he lives the life of an adventurer, traveling, jumping off planes, mountains, buildings, and more. So Sajid, let's talk about Luma World. Tell me about this organization.
We founded this company almost over 2 years back. There were four of us who founded this company. Myself, Tejasvi, Venkat, and Samir. The whole idea was initially, I wouldn't call ourselves a product design company, rather an experience design company, where we cater to education for children. And we wanted to target the younger age group because these are the formative years where children need to understand problem solving. They need to ask the right questions. And we do it through games, board games, books, flashcards, etc. So the whole idea is to make education more engaging, especially from a child's point of view.
Very interesting. And, as you were scaling up, and this is the problem that I think every startup faces,
Sure.
What were your challenges and what were your learnings?
That's a great question. I think one of the biggest challenges, especially in India, is market awareness. Because we were trying to, we didn't know what category our products would fall under. So there is education, there is gaming, and then there is the, slightly murky area, edutainment.
Correct.
And we would fall under, something under that category because parents know, like, okay, they want to buy games just for their children to have fun, or like as a gifting option, or they know what education is and they need to buy certain products, which of course maybe the school suggest or publishers suggest, or their friends or family they would suggest. But something that we were doing was mixing both these categories and telling families like, hey, your child can still be learning while playing a game, or so something that we do which is core to us is gamifying whatever we design. So even our books, if you look at them, we'll have a narrative, we'll have a story that drives the whole process. So the child never knows that they're going to apply the concepts that they're learning in a classroom. Same thing with a flashcard. So they read the question, and usually a child's tendency is to look at the answer first, right? But we've masked the answers under a red color, so you can see it only when you use a specific filter for that. So yeah.
Very interesting. And what has been the response of parents and children to all these interesting initiatives?
So initially, when we launched, we were looking ourselves more from as a B2B company, because we were hoping that schools will lap up something like this. So for example, IB schools or IGCSE or ICSE schools.
Right.
And that was working well for us. In fact, some of the schools, picked up whatever products we had that time. And this was pre-pandemic, and then COVID hit. So that again was one of our biggest challenges because schools were no longer ready. They had their own problems to tackle. But that we used that opportunity to later modularize our product. So we initially it was like a 3-in-1 kit or a 4-in-1 kit. But then we made the game separate, the book separate, the flashcard separate. And now, because children were already hooked onto their screens so much that parents realized like, hey, I need to bring them out of this. I need some time to engage with my child. And that's where we kind of like banked on it, where family time was now becoming Luma time. So the board games were helping parents connect with their children better, understand if the child is lacking in something. So all our products are actually mapped to learning objectives that a child needs to know for a particular age group. So if you can see like your 8-year-old is still struggling with 2-digit multiplication or addition of 3-digit numbers, you can tackle that problem right then and there, and you can put in more efforts over there. And that goes for teachers, mentors, siblings, whoever are around the child.
And these digital devices are becoming quite a challenge all over the world. In fact, China has already called it digital opium.
Yeah.
So my question to you, Sajid, is what are some of the challenges this whole business is facing worldwide?
I mean, I think it goes back to why are people engaging on a digital medium more than, of course, that is the future and you can't deny that, right? But what is that dopamine kick that you're getting scrolling on your phone or tapping continuously on something until you get a reward, right? How do you bring that digital reward system into a physical space? I think that is one of the biggest questions we need to solve. And I mean, you can do it through multiple ways. Your product needs to be engaging. Number one, your product needs to be visually appealing to, whoever is picking up the product, be it an adult, be it a child. The constant engagement needs to be there. Globally, of course, like the pandemic has, just placed completely. I mean, no one would have imagined this, right? Like when you go back to the interview question where companies ask, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't think any corporate would have also imagined. But what we are realizing now is people are understanding this whole need for stepping out of the screens. I think, as you rightly said, in the morning also, China has put a limit to the number of hours a child can spend on screen. I think It's like 3 hours or something, and it starts on Friday over the weekend or on holidays. So I think more and more people, families, they are realizing this. Sometimes, I mean, what I've seen in our culture also is the digital medium can be an easy fix in that instant where your child is, crying or is cranky and they don't know what to do. They're like, hey, you know what, just take my phone, start playing. Or I think that's a habit that needs to change.
Very interesting. But, again, based on all your experience, and I know how addictive the screens are. I mean, if I'm watching something, I want to binge watch all the time.
Sure.
But what is it that keeps the young people so engrossed and so occupied with their screens that they're not willing to step out of their homes to play?
Yeah, again, I think, I mean, there are multiple problems. Like back in the days, we didn't have access to so many devices, and our only option was to get terribly bored and then figure out something, like either build something in your house or just step down and, you have your play hours. I mean, some kids would get 1 or 2 hours every day, or sometimes some kids would just be out and never come back. I mean, that habit is still there. Some families still practice something like this. I know some of my friends who don't give their children tablets and all that. The whole idea is for them to go out and play. The other thing, I think, while growing up, once you have your own thought processes, it could be insecurities, it could be some sort of validation you're looking for online. It could be, of course, I mean, I also consume a lot of content, but then I try to, like, my content would be something educational or something related to science or science fiction for that matter. But then I try to use all these thoughts into, my real life, or even like when it comes to adventure sports, learning about new places, maybe going and exploring them in future. I myself create a lot of digital content, but I try to make it such that someone who's watching feels connected with that. And maybe that's the thing, you want to feel connected. You want to try and do things which you may not be able to do.
Very interesting. And, when you look at the attention span when it comes to gaming or your digital devices, it is normally short.
Yeah.
But more importantly, people are, constantly looking for newer and newer things to do, or newer and newer games to play. So my question to you is, how do you manage to stay ahead of ideas and technology when it comes to your products?
Sure. As I said earlier, it's the whole idea is, while playing a game, and I mean, science and research has proven this, there are certain chemicals fired in your brain, right? And you want to try to give them the same dopamine kick they would get out of a digital medium. And because we test our games with a lot of kids before we launch them, we've seen what they're looking for. They want to associate themselves with certain characters, or certain story in the as part of the gameplay that attracts them, or maybe the way the game is presented to them, the way it looks. If you can hook them to that, then you've solved half the problem. And then of course the game mechanics. Are you leaving them with enough kick at the end of it that they want to say like, hey, you know what, I want to try a new strategy the next time I play, and I want to do this right now. So there was one of the big art directors of this game called Ticket to Ride, Cyril. He had visited us, and he just told us like one basic thing. If your game at the end of the game, if the child or whoever is playing the game has this urge to play the game again, then it's a good game. But if they have the urge to play the game again right now, then you've designed like a really cool game.
Very interesting. And I guess there's a lot of research that is constantly happening with the consumer, isn't it?
Yes.
In this case, is the child.
Definitely.
And what is the role parents play in all your research?
Again, that's a pretty neat question, because sometimes like parents will buy a product for their child and be like, hey, this is for you, figure it out, do it yourself. We try to make our games such that it's a family thing. So we've seen case studies where parents, grandparents, and whoever is around the child have participated through our games, because we don't make the games such that they look very kidsy, because we want a sibling or an adolescent to be also participating around the child. They shouldn't feel like this is child's play, I don't want to participate in this. And the child also shouldn't feel like, hey, you know what, this is too simple for me, or this is too tough for me. It should have the right blend. And we've seen this happening. And that's where we feel our customers keep coming back to us as well.
Very interesting. So when I was researching about you and thinking about my own self, and I'm much older, when I was growing up, it was products like games like Meccano.
Right.
Later on, I think morphed into a very interesting which is the Swedish brick game, Lego, right?
Yeah.
And there used to be Ludo, and there used to be Monopoly, which the family used to sit and play together.
Yeah.
In today's games, whether it's physical or digital, how involved is a family? I mean, because that used to be a great amount of family time. Now it's all solo.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I mean, I think when it comes to, I agree with you. Like back in the days, I grew up with a lot of Lego games, and sometimes I couldn't figure out certain pieces, or I couldn't figure out the manual. And I'm saying like when I was 7, 8, I would run to my neighbors and I'm like, hey, can you please help me figure this part out? And that's how, for me, that was my playtime. These days, when I see my cousins or their kids, I see them, as you rightly said, playing in silos. The parents have no clue. They have no clue what these games are. They will only hear, okay, government banned PUBG. Okay, cool. Stay away from PUBG. They have no idea what Counter-Strike is. I mean, trust me, they have no idea, unless the parent is inquisitive and, they understand what is happening. I also played a lot of digital games growing up. I also failed some of my subjects because I was so engrossed in these games that I ignored my studies back then. But I realized, what had happened then. Now, slowly, I think, so when my cousins visit my house, I'll introduce them to board games, and we can see that shift happening. Sometimes their parents will also, start playing with us, because first they think, oh no, this is, kidsy stuff. We don't want to get into this. But then once they see how engaging things are, how, what strategies people are using, the players are using, or how the resource exchange is happening, then they're like, hey, I think I want to try this. And you do it slowly. You don't bring like a tough game where the rules are, say, like you take an hour to understand the rules. You don't want to do that. You want to do something which is quick and dirty, basically. So that's another thing, another formula that we use when we design our games. The rules are like under 10 minutes or 5 minutes to, quickly understand them. We make videos around them so that the child can like watch it and understand the whole process. And the gameplay is again like 30 to 45 minutes maximum, because for a younger child, their attention span is much lesser than us. I mean, even for us now, it's much lesser. Yeah, that's
very interesting. So I've got two more questions for you relating to Luma, and then we'll move to the next segment.
sure.
My next question is that, how loyal are your consumers to your games? And, do they keep moving from one to the other?
Yeah, that's a good business question. So, I mean, this is something we also try to keep working on every day. So one thing, when we started a brand, the first thing was, what does the brand stand for? I mean, what is your brand identity? How do you want people to associate with Luma? So of course, everything boils down to branding and, the visuals of how you present your products. Initially, it was a B2B product, so we didn't have to put too much efforts into that. But then once we went on retail and, on Amazon, we had to stand out. That's why the logo signifies something. The amount of space that we give on the packaging for the logo and, for the other creatives. And I think that's where, our experience, because most of like the founding team, they are well traveled and we've lived in different parts of the world. So we've seen different products, we've engaged with different products, and we wanted to have that same quality with ours. So although we are like completely made in India, we wanted the product to be an international product. And I mean, touch wood it is. And talking about people coming back, it all boils down to the experience that they get. So as of now, our games are completely mapped to mathematics for ages 7 to 11. The learning objectives have been completely mapped and defined, and the games revolve around that. Having said that, the math is probably around 30 to 40% as part of the gameplay. The child doesn't know that they're actually using the concepts they've learned in a classroom and applying as part of the game mechanics, because okay, you have, for your next move, you have to solve a certain thing. So they have to do that. And it's not like too crazy. It's something that they should know for that age group. Once parents see like how engaging the products are, our rate of people buying our products is pretty decent, I would say.
Interesting. The next question is that, we did speak about the pandemic very briefly in our conversation. But my question to you is, what has been the impact of the pandemic for the gaming business?
So I'll tackle the impact for the offline gaming business, because we see this, we are part of like different gaming groups and product manufacturing companies as well. One big thing was retail, like people stopped going to shops, malls, etc. So getting your product out there just did not make any sense, and they were not ready to even like place the products because there's no footfall now. So the whole shift became to the online business model. So we started listing with a lot of these online retail spaces. Amazon for us has been pretty good. Our website is something which we are building upon. I mean, slowly the sales are increasing because it needs a lot of paid marketing efforts and all that. Organically, slowly it's increasing. So the whole idea was now to create families or teachers or influencers, in this space, educational space, who are talking about these products and the benefits of something like this. Our efforts were completely geared towards that. But otherwise, now things are slowly coming back, although I mean there are talks of the third wave also hitting. But we're just going with the fact that it's like offline is going to be slightly lesser, and our complete efforts are on the online model. But school wise, B2B wise, I think hybrid learning is that's going to be the future. So now last year, as I was telling you earlier, we piloted this small case study where weekend to weekend we would create a small WhatsApp group, a closed WhatsApp group, where we would drop in locked PDF files which were puzzles, theme-based puzzles. So a story runs through the whole thing, and you could participate as a friend circle, as a group. People from anywhere, any part of the world, you can participate and work as a team to solve this. So we saw like people participating on Zoom calls and solving these things. And the winner would get a prize, whoever would solve the whole thing the fastest. And these were all like lateral thinking, logic puzzles, visual reasoning, etc. And we saw people, kept coming back for these events. And then we realized, okay, we can create a platform for something like this where people can just sign up as groups or individuals. Yeah, that's something in the pipes as of now.
Fantastic. So I'm now going to move to the next segment, which is, our audience loves to get to know my guest a little better. So a few questions for you personally.
Sure.
Sajid, my first question is that what would you say are 3 key milestones in your life or your career?
These are always the tough questions, right? I think before I would maybe I wouldn't map them to my career. Of course, Luma is something which is very dear to me, but just taking a step back, the 3 milestones are, I would say, slightly easy for me to tell you right now. The first one was me going to USA. This was in the year 2007. I did my master's over there. I lived there. I worked over there for 4 years. I thought I'm living the American dream until one fine day I decided to come back. And that was the second milestone of me coming back and then starting from scratch again, because I knew I'm not going to get back into corporate lifestyle. I had to start something by myself. That's when I started another company called Last Bench Education, which was again into education, helping graduates to get accustomed to corporate lifestyle. And then I think third one is, of course, being able to start Luma World. Yeah.
Fantastic. And as a person who has done so much in the last 13, 14 years since you went to the US, and there's so much more to look forward to, what are some of the core values you believe in?
Again, I feel like I'm in an interview now.
You are in an interview.
Yeah. I think, and someone had told me this, right? Like you dream about something, but before you reach that level, you need to have enough skills that make you comfortable and make you confident that you can, pull off that dream. I think working on those skills beforehand, so that when you reach that level, I think that's the key. And you need some sort of dedication. You need a lot of passion to, pull off something like this. And again, giving an example of me being able to run something like this and me being able to also balance my adventure sports lifestyle, that's one of the biggest achievements, I would say. I think that runs into your next question also.
Very interesting. So I've got time for 2 more questions, and I'm trying to debate what to ask you. But let me ask you the question that, what does success mean to Sajid?
Yeah. I think it's all about balance. Success isn't you reaching a pedestal and being like, hey, you know what? I've reached here. This is it, done, accomplished. I don't look at success that way. For me, it's an ongoing process. It's about, of course, defining your short-term and long-term goals, accomplishing them, and then moving forward to the next thing. And of course, you don't always have to, move forward. You can just be there, absorb the whole thing, be happy, be content. As I mentioned earlier, finding the right balance and being able to manage both. For me, again, it's Luma and, doing all the adventure stuff on the side. For me, that is success. This question was actually long time back. Someone told me, we thought you would be highly successful. This is after I came back from USA, because I quit everything and came back, and I didn't want to go back into that lifestyle. Yeah. And we thought you'll have like a super, like a managerial role somewhere, and, living somewhere, and you have your own car and all that. And I'm like, yeah, maybe at some point in my life, I thought that was also success for me, but then now I don't. And it's okay for you to, define success that way.
Wonderful. And my last question to you, and I put this in only because you work with so many children. If you, Sajid, were a role model to millions of children who closely followed you and your life choices,
yeah,
what is the one thing you would change in yourself?
I would change in myself. Okay, I think one of my biggest problem is I try to, if I'm designing something or if whatever I'm creating, I try to bring the best into that right from the beginning. And I feel that needs to change. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to show something raw in the beginning. And then you keep developing that. You don't always have to show your 100% finished product right from the beginning. Same thing goes with any kind of business. It's always an evolution. If you're able to figure that out and you're able to pivot quicker, then nothing like it. That's how you survive.
Fantastic. Sajid, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure and a privilege speaking to you. Thank you for taking me down this amazing journey of Luma, which has just started. You're just 2 years old.
Yeah.
But wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.